What's up, everyone? Welcome to Nomads No Worries. We got a really great show for you today. We're going to be talking about some updates to the Airbnb and Vrbo business models. And then more importantly, we're going to get into a draft of different types of Uber drivers, which is going to be super exciting. So yeah, let's go. What's up, Jack?
Hey, how are you doing today, Steve? I'm excited for this episode.
Me too, man. And the first thing I want to talk about is a bit of Nomad news, okay? And this is pertaining to one of our favorite apps, one of my most used apps, I'd say, on my iPhone, and that is Airbnb. So Airbnb will now show users the total cost of their stay right away. Okay, so this is something that everyone has complained about for years, ever since Airbnb has been a thing. They're, oh, there's hidden fees. Even though all you got to do is click one time and it'll show you what all the hidden fees are. But yeah, after getting so many complaints, they actually tested this as a toggle button. I think it started like 2023 or last year. Like you could toggle it on and off when you were searching for listings and say, okay, I want to see the full price. But now they've gone away with that toggle. And the new update now shows the full price with all fees included.
I think that's great. I think a little transparency. I almost think it's a little funny, you know? It's like now they're almost like Ticketmaster now. They got so many different types of fees that people are just pissed. And they're like, all right, we just gotta be upfront about this. We got our cleaning fee, we got, your living fee, we have like a travel tax, whatever. Like they just have too many fees, they gotta be upfront now, right?
Exactly. And I never really had a problem with it, again, because I would just go and look at the full price. But at a glance, I get it when you're scrolling through the listings. It is nice to see the entire fee, which isn't too bad. I feel like with monthly listings for me, like if the cleaning fee is the same for a month than what it is if you're staying for 2 nights, like if it's a $200 fee for 2 nights, that definitely sucks. But if I'm staying for a full month and it's a $200 cleaning fee, I don't really give a shit. But yeah, people have always been so mad about that. So I'm glad Airbnb listens to the people.
Yeah, I agree. It's crazy too because I feel like they work so hard on their UX, but they never did that. I wonder what the angle was. Maybe it's like, oh, you know what? If I got them to click, maybe they're like already super into that property and they're more likely just to kind of take it, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure it benefits them financially in some way.
Yeah.
But speaking of, this might even be bigger news right here. So this one pertains to Airbnb's biggest competitor, which is Vrbo.
Mhm.
And I do believe that's how you say that. It's spelled VRBO, which I think stands for like vacation, rim job, boner.
Yeah, I think it's vacation rentals by owner, but we can go with whatever. That's fine.
Thank you.
I've always called it VRBO. Like that's how I've always said it, you know? But like, do
Me
people
too,
say
until I saw a
Verbo?
commercial. Yeah, I saw a commercial and they said Vrbo, like a commercial for that company.
Wow, okay. It's a weird name.
It is a weird name. I hate it because it's just like, how do you say it? Like, you think the one thing that people should know about your brand is how to pronounce it, and I feel like it's a question for a lot of people.
Yeah, exactly. There's very few brands that get away with, I don't know how to pronounce it, but I like it.
So what they're doing is they are finally offering monthly and weekly discounts, as well as discounts on new listings. So Airbnb has been doing this for years, which is my primary reason for using Airbnb over Vrbo, because I stay in monthly and weekly stays every month, whatever. So I've never used Vrbo. Like maybe I'll look at it for a weekend trip or something like that, but they don't have monthly discounts. So it's always super expensive. So they're finally doing this, which means I might even start looking at Vrbo now when I'm looking at my next stay. I mean, this is huge news.
Yeah, that is pretty wild. Honestly, I'm surprised it took them this long because Verbo's been around, VRBO, whatever, has been around for a long time. Like ever since I've been a nomad, it's been a thing. It's like, do they never get this feedback?
Right. Like they've been missing out on a huge piece of the market.
Yeah.
And like Airbnb, like their CEO that he has come out and said like they want to they're like targeting digital nomads and people who do longer term stays. Like that's a big piece of the market. So they've been trying to cater to us for a while. I don't know why Vrbo it took them this long. Um, but I will say so hosts on Vrbo do need to manually set this up and put in their monthly discounts. So
Mm.
it is a brand new feature. I checked. There's not a lot on there yet with monthly discounts, but some are already doing it. But yeah,
Mm.
this is huge. And again, the reason that's there, not only does it benefit people staying long term, but it helps with the property manager or the host because it's less work for them, right? Like they will give us a discount in exchange for only having to clean the place once in 2 months, right? If we stay there for 2 months, you have the same person there the whole time. It's not as many questions. Like a new person comes in every couple of days, they're going to ask you way more questions. There's just a lot more variables and things that can go wrong. So, yeah, I think giving the discount, it's mutually beneficial, right? It helps the host and us, the people who stay there.
Yeah, I mean, good for them. I'm down. More competition. I don't want Airbnb to have a monopoly on the market because I think that's bad for consumers. So I'm happy that they finally figured this part out. Good for them.
Me too. And and speaking of Airbnb and Vrbo, Jack, you shared a tweet with me that's kind of a hot take. We'll call this a Nomad hack, actually. Do you wanna maybe read off the contents of that tweet?
Yes. Okay. So it's a tweet. It's like one of those tweets. It's like, do step one, do step two, that sort of thing. Step one is go to VRBO/Airbnb, find a rental you like, identify the property manager, Google the name, book the property. Then you just bypassed all of the sort of platform related fees.
Book the property their website, like the
Yes.
firm's website, not on Airbnb or Vrbo, right?
Yes, and I actually have done a variation of this technique many times, especially in my times where I've been at a longer than a month stay. For example, maybe my first month or whatever, I'll do Airbnb or VRBO, but then you kind of get to know the lay of the land. Maybe you're like an apartment complex and you realize, oh, this is
Yeah.
managed by like an actual company, or whoever you're actually talking to, you can build a direct relationship with them and then they can help you find, either extend that place or within their network, they have other properties that you could rent. And then hopefully, if you were like a good tenant, even they might like waive, like maybe there's like a hefty fee where you have to pay a lot more upfront or something like that, or you can get like a 2 or 3 month discount. So I definitely think this is the way to go. It takes a little bit more effort. I think one of the best things about Airbnb is you can kind of don't have to talk to anyone. You just instantly book. And this requires communication skills. So it is a little bit different there.
Yeah. Yeah, but once you get off the book, like you said, you get that person's phone number or their WhatsApp, and then you're just communicating directly. So yeah, if you want to book another month, be like, hey, let's do it without Airbnb. So Airbnb doesn't take fees from both of us and take their
Yeah.
cut, right?
Yeah.
So I think
It's a
that's a great
win-win.
way to do it. This guy said in the tweet that he saves $400 every single time. I assume he's talking about monthly stays with that, most likely. And I was thinking, because I've done this before, only like once or twice. And I wonder why I don't do it more often. Because, yeah, you can always find the property manager or like the firm's name on the listing on Airbnb somewhere, whether it's in their photos hidden somewhere or just in the listing straight up. Or even the name of the host sometimes will be like Cancun Rentals by Genevieve. And then you're like, okay, I'll just Google that and you find them. But I
Yeah.
was asking myself, I was like, why don't I do this more often? Like I book through Airbnb 90% of the time. And there are a few pros, I would say, of going through Airbnb. So, first of all, it's just the convenience. Sometimes the property websites suck. Like, I was looking at some here in Colombia, and like, literally couldn't even book. Like, the websites didn't work. They didn't have enough photos. Like, I couldn't really see what was going on.
Right.
So, the convenience of Airbnb and just having everything in that app, and I'm used to it, is good.
Hmm.
You also get air cover insurance with Airbnb. So if the property is not as listed by the time you get there, like Airbnb will refund you, they'll help you find a new place.
Yeah.
So if you go direct, you may not get that. And again, this is like upfront before what you're talking about, where you've already built the relationship. Maybe
Yeah.
that's different. But if I'm going in raw dogging it, totally
Right.
blind, these things help. You get other support from Airbnb. You know, if anything goes wrong, I actually used Airbnb support recently, and it was a pretty good process. Like they have a good support team. Uh, there are some pros of going through Airbnb, and I guess that's where the additional cost could come from. But yeah, when it makes sense, I do like this hack to save some money.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think my recent usage of something like this is actually when we were in Dubai, my place that I rented, I ended up actually just messaging the people that I stayed with last year. And I was like, hey, I'm looking for some stuff, like hook me up. And it was great, you know? So I was like, oh, this is even better because I already know I like the quality that you guys provided in your company, and we're both making money here.
Yeah, hell yeah. No, I love that. So yeah, definitely something I'm gonna keep an eye out for moving forward. But
And
yeah.
I would even say too, with the power of, AI searching the internet, maybe some of this legwork that's annoying is a little bit easier. Maybe we need to kind of deep dive that a little bit for our users next time, Steve.
Dude, that's a really good idea. I keep forgetting about AI with certain things. I'm like, oh, well, I just don't know the answer to this question. Or like one of my coworkers that knows the answer like isn't available. I can't ask them. I'm like, oh
Right.
yeah, I have a coworker who's always available, ChatGPT. And I remember I'm like, oh yeah, this thing knows everything.
And it can do a lot of this menial work, like, oh, find me, small property companies in Colombia, and they could at least get you a list and be like, okay, now give me ones with good review. It almost like does the whole part of Airbnb for you, right? Like, so that's kind of
Shit.
nice. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we're gonna test this out and
Yeah.
we'll
We'll
bring
get
our
back.
findings to the next episode. Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what is there like, okay, we got Airbnb, we got Vrbo. Is there a third player?
So
Booking.com is lit.
yes, booking.com
Booking.com
is
is lit.
good.
Yeah.
I use them for short term if I'm doing a weekend trip type of thing. I
Yeah.
use Booking a lot. I haven't really ventured into the long term, like monthly stays with them. I know they do have a lot of like vacation rentals and apartments, that kind
Yep,
of thing on there now, but I
they
haven't
do.
ventured in. Is it good?
Yeah, I have. I used it in Thailand a bunch. It was great, honestly.
Booking is good. I do have
And
one more player. Yeah, go ahead.
well, one thing I liked about Booking also is that it's rewards based. So the more you book, you get certain perks and discounts. Like one time I got like a free shuttle from the airport using like my booking points. So,
Okay, that's
yeah.
actually dope. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have noticed that. And that's one thing that the Airbnb CEO tweeted out was one of his biggest requests. I think maybe we talked about this on one of our first episodes, but people have been requesting Airbnb to have some type of a loyalty program. Because I'm like, dude, I would rack it up.
Yeah,
I would rack that shit up because I'm always using Airbnb. But I think they realize they're like, well, when it comes to monthly stays,
we're the
there's
best.
really no other there's no other competitor. But now that Verbo's getting in that game, maybe we will see some loyalty points from Airbnb.
That would be cool. Instead of your American Airlines card, you're getting an Airbnb card. You know what I'm saying?
That'd be sick. It'd be pink. I'd love that. One last player I will mention, and it's only in the US, and it is Furnished Finder. It
Oh,
was originally created for travel nurses who needed to find like long-term stays that were fully furnished. So it's kind of centered around that. It has a really bad UX, UI, and everything, but I have used it when I haven't found good properties on Airbnb. Sometimes these are much cheaper options, and that's Furnished Finder. Again, only in the US.
yeah, I actually have used that here multiple times for my spots. And another one I used, I mean, now that we're, the door's open, is Zillow Rent, because they do have
Oh,
fully furnished spots on there. So
oh,
Zillow
hell yeah.
Rent, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Damn. All right. Fuck.
I
We're
don't know if
really
Zillow is a
giving
global or
people.
not. I don't know. I don't know if they are.
I don't know. We'll figure
Yeah.
it out.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on. Let's get into our draft in honor of the NFL draft that just happened last week. I know we're slightly late on this, but we got pretty excited about this idea. You know, when we travel, we encounter a lot of different types of Uber drivers, not even just abroad, but at home as well. And we're going to do a draft. Jack, we haven't even really discussed what the rules of this are. I
Yeah.
was just thinking, like, you know, I don't know, maybe you can draft your favorite type first, but at the end of the day, it's like we're just kind of drafting them and we're building a team of Uber drivers that we've encountered.
Wait, so is it like the people I want to drive me, or is it
Yeah,
the people I don't want to drive me?
we'll go. I don't
Because
know. What
my
do you
list
think?
is everyone I don't want to drive me.
Same. So, yeah, we'll just say, you know, whoever you don't want to drive you the most, that can go first, and we'll
All
go
right.
from there.
Whoever I want to drive my ops, as the Zoomers say.
Yes.
Who's gonna be
Yeah,
my
dude.
op driver?
Yeah, bro. If a kid you really hate, you know, you're hanging out with him and you want him to like leave the group, you know, the guy that you're always like, man, it'd be a lot more fun if Brian wasn't here or
Yeah.
whatever. Be like, hey, Brian, I got you an Uber. Hopefully
Yes.
it's this type of Uber driver,
Exactly. Yeah. Send them home in the op driver.
the Opmobile. All right, dude. My least favorite. I got quite the list here.
Okay.
My least favorite, I'm going to go with the NASCAR driver.
Ooh.
Now, this guy, I encounter this a lot in Latin America. This guy thinks that he gets paid more if he drives faster. I swear to God, these guys are flying on the highway. They're going fucking 200 miles per hour. They're like trying to pass people. They're like weaving in out of traffic. And I'm like, dude, my destination is really not important. Like, I'm going to be early. Like, I want these people to just take their time and go slow so I don't die, especially when I'm in these foreign countries with crazy drivers. People are trying to go so fast. They're running stop signs. You know, they're not looking out for children. I'm just like, dude, you can take your time there, Leadfoot. You know, just chill out a little bit. So the NASCAR driver scares me a lot of the time. I appreciate it if I'm late for a flight and they're going fast for me, but most of the time it's like I don't need the speed.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I totally agree. Like, I don't want my obituary to say he was taking an Uber and he died. Like, I don't want that. That's not how I'm going out, you know?
But if my ops obituary says that, I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah, that's like such an op move. Yeah. Now, there has been one time I was like, bro, I'm going to tip you. I got to catch a train. Google Maps says there's no way we're going to make it. Can you make it? And we tipped him like 50% of the fare and he made it. And so that was the one time I was happy. But of those times, please do not kill me. Like,
Yeah.
please. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm paying the Uber driver for safety. I'm a terrible driver.
Yeah, dude. And sometimes in these countries, their cars are falling apart as is. Like, it doesn't need to take on any more speed. Like, the seatbelt doesn't work. So I'm like, I'm fucked if this guy gets in a wreck. So yeah, just chill out, man.
I remember in Cairo, they don't really observe like the lanes. So it's like this Uber driver's like on the shoulder, like trying to pass someone. And I'm like, dude, no need. No need. Please chill out.
God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, all right. What do you got? Who's your first round draft pick?
All right, dude. I'm gonna say the lost Uber driver. I don't know. One thing I've tried to do now with Uber, this really helps me because I take Uber a lot. This is the one thing I do is I no longer watch them come to me. Okay? I no longer watch them on the map, like seeing which route they take. Because a few times I'm like, wow, they just took a wrong turn. And they haven't even gotten to me yet, and they took a wrong turn. I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be terrible. We're never going to get to our destination. And so the lost Uber driver always triggers me a little bit. Even though I don't want them to drive fast, I do like that when they take the optimal route that the robots have selected for them. I don't want any
Dude,
improv, no improv.
yeah, the best is when they'll like ask me, they're like, which way should I go? Or how do I get there? Or
Yeah.
sometimes I'll get in, they're like, where are we going? I'm like, dude, the app tells you everything. Literally, you don't need to say a single word to me. Why are you even asking me questions? What?
Yeah. Or don't be like, hey, which way do you think we should go? Should we take this highway or this one? Like whatever the robots say. They spend billions of dollars on figuring that part out. I'm not gonna sit here in the back seat and pretend to say I know what the traffic patterns are like.
Yeah, they'll be like, "Oh, this highway's a mess. We shouldn't take it." I'm like, "Yeah, but does the robot say to take it? Then it's still probably the most optimal." So it already knows the traffic. So don't just eyeball it and say that it's that this is the traffic. Yeah.
And if you're right by 30 seconds, I still don't care because I'm still stressed out that we're going the wrong way. You
Yes.
know?
Yes.
Like I still it's not worth it to me. So please, that should be one of the things on Uber Comfort, it's like, oh, like quiet air conditioning and never ever deviate from the path. That should be one of the Uber Comfort options.
Which, by the way, dude, Uber Comfort, they do not look at any of that shit. Okay, I always say cold, like use blast the AC, and I get into a car in Mexico and they hate using AC in Latin American countries. And the car is just burning hot. Like I wore a jacket because I told the guy to make it cold. They don't look at that. I've seen them because I'll see them get a comfort call and they just accept it right away without even looking at, them saying
They're
that they
like,
requested it to be cold.
"Oh, an extra few bucks. Great." Like I don't even care. Like what are we even talking about here?
Dude, when I was in Africa, I would get in cars that didn't even have air conditioning. So I'm like, why'd you guys even give me that comfort option to select air conditioning? I would get in, I'm like, all right, I'm just giving you extra money then, I guess. That's fine. But
And okay, now
yeah.
this is another thing that's a pet peeve of mine that like isn't actually the Uber driver's fault, but I like have to like if I'm in a big group of people and we got to get an Uber XL or whatever, and then like a few days later I get a new Uber, it's like it like is automatically selecting Uber XL. And like I've had a problem where I accidentally ordered an Uber XL when I didn't realize it from like a previous day. I'm like, why would you do that, Uber?
They love doing that. They're like, may I suggest an Uber Black tonight? And that's just like the default option. It's like, no, dude.
Yeah, yeah, no
Yeah.
way.
Yep.
Yeah. So, okay. Okay, Steve.
All right. All right. My second round draft pick is the bored retired guy. The bored retired guy. Now, this is usually in the US, is where I encounter this guy. And he'll tell you, they always tell you, they're like, I'm actually retired. I'm just doing this for fun. And I'm like, I right off the bat know, I'm like, all right, he's going to be a talker, a big talker. And they're just bored and they're just telling you their life story, not to be ageist, but they're often old and kind of just bad drivers because they're old. They maybe don't see very well, but they're chatting. And here's the thing, like, I love talking to people that, I have a podcast because I love talking so much.
Yeah.
But there's just times I get off of a flight from the airport and, it's 2 in the morning or something. And the last thing I want to do is have like a 40-minute ride with a guy just talking. And I'm too polite to like tell him to shut the fuck up or
Right.
whatever. And so I'm just always talking back and like responding to their questions and doing all this just to, but I really don't want to. So the bored retired guy always does it for me. So.
Yeah, that can be annoying. It's like, look, he's being a genuine nice guy. He's like asking you these questions about yourself, and it's like, normally I love talking about myself, but sometimes I'm just tired. And I
Yeah,
feel bad
sometimes
if I
I'd
like
rather sleep.
I put in my headphones or something because it's like too obvious, like.
I'll try that tactic and they still talk. I'll try to like loudly put them in, like here comes my headphones, just like say it out loud. But yeah, that doesn't usually work, unfortunately, with the bored retired guy. So all
Okay.
right, who do you got?
All right. This one, I got a bone to pick with this one. I'm calling him or her the call beforehand driver.
Mm,
Okay, so you book the car and then they accept and they're like barely on their way and they give you a phone call, you know, and they're talking through the details of your trip. Oh, where are you going? You know, I'm just trying to check to make sure I can plan this properly.
yeah,
Like, okay, like, hey, do you mind if I like get gas before I pick you up? Like, yeah, actually, I do mind. I do. Why'd you turn it on before? Why didn't you go get that done before you turned it on? So I think the call beforehand guy always up to something. They always got some hidden agenda that makes me feel like I'm a burden when they're working.
yep. That's a good one. Kind of goes back to the guy that's trying to look at the directions or whatever. It's like, dude, this call is completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
The app tells you everything you need to know. It tells you my name. If you really want to dig into my profile and see what I look like, and you can find all that out through the app. Like, you do not
Yeah.
need to call me. That's
You do not, we do not need to have this conversation. Look, I'm a 4.9 rated. That should be good enough.
Yeah. Oh, we should release our at the end of this, we should look at what our actual ratings are and see. Do you know for a fact you're 4.9?
Honestly, bro, I think I kind of embellish a little bit. I did have one puke incident, so I
We'll
think that,
save it for
okay.
the end. All right. Ready for my third?
Yes.
All right. I am gonna go with the jammer. Okay. Some people, and again, beggars can't be choosers, right? I complained about people talking too much. The jammer does not talk. The jammer is blaring the loudest music, and it's always like the weirdest music you've ever heard, right? Like, I'll get in and it's some hardcore techno, doesn't really fit the vibe of like what I'm doing, right? It's an early morning, again, like maybe an airport, 6 a.m., and they're blaring like really hard dubstep, which I like sometimes, right? Like, I'm
Right.
into, electronic music. But like,
Coachella.
no, there's a time and a place like Coachella. But yeah, they're just playing like really strange. I've just heard some really weird music in Ubers that I would have never heard otherwise. And yeah, it's sometimes they're just blaring it and whatever. I take it because I'd rather have that than like the chatty retired guy. So that's another one.
Now, this is interesting, Steve. I mean, I haven't really had I've never really had it where they've uncomfortably played a lot of music. Like, that's actually, I don't know if that's actually happened to me. But I do have a really good story tangentially here, okay?
Okay.
So one of my Uber drivers was playing some music, okay? And it was like some reggaeton music, in Miami. And I'm like, man, this is kind of a vibe. I get to talking with the guy. He's got 170,000 followers on Instagram, and that was his own music.
That's dope. That's dope.
And then I'm like going through his Instagram stuff. I'm like, dude, why are you driving Uber? I don't understand. Like, you were on stage at Live the other night. Like, what's going on here? Like, you're like, I don't know. You have a lot of followers. Like, do you really need to be doing this? Like, I didn't say that, right? But I was just like, man, this is like a weird scenario. Like, am I on like Punked? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is this like a fake taxi or something? Like, but
Dude,
I thought that was kind
that's
of
like
weird.
that's the
And like,
perfect marketing tactic. Like, you're actually getting paid for your own marketing. Like, people are listening to your music, and like, you found him on Instagram, and now you like know about him. Like, he
yeah.
marketed himself to you, and he got paid to do that. So that's one spin.
Yeah, I've been meaning to go to one of his shows because he was like so nice to me and like playing all this music and stuff. And I ended up following on Instagram. I'm like, dude, this is lit. Like, I feel like I got like a backstage pass now. This guy was my Uber driver. He's got like 3 chicks twerking on him, but hey, he was driving me in a Prius, Like,
Was it really a Prius?
no, I think it was actually a Tesla. I didn't want to say, I know it, triggers a lot of the T word.
Controversial. Yeah, yeah.
So, but yeah,
Good.
so yeah, Leroy Villa, shout out. Okay. But yeah, we'll link it in the comments or something.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's a sick name too. All right, what's your next pick?
all right. I kind of like this guy. This next one is a love-hate for me, Steve. Okay.
Okay.
And I'm calling him the hustler.
Okay.
So this guy, this happened to me in Mexico a lot. I would love to know if it happened to you, where I would get picked up, or it would be right before pickup. Like, it would almost be like the call beforehand guy, right? And he would be like, hey, if you pay me in cash, I'll give you a cheaper rate. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, you know what? He is kind of a $10 discount. Like, that's not too bad. Like, okay, I'll do that. Like, that's chill. Like, and so we'll like cancel the ride, but then he'll come still get me, and then I'll just give him the cash, and he makes more money because Uber takes such a hefty fee, and then obviously I get a cheaper fare. The only bone to pick I have, and maybe this is me being lazy, but it's like sometimes I don't want to go through that. Like, sometimes I'm just like, fine, I just want it to be automated. It might be like the Airbnb, the click thing,
Right. Yeah, yeah, same vibe. Definitely have experienced that mostly in the Dominican Republic. But yeah, I especially like, I don't speak Spanish that well, like to have that kind of a transactional conversation with someone. So yeah, I really don't want to do that. I'd rather just have it be automated.
Yeah, exactly. Now, it did work out a few times, but something I'm not like super like looking for. But at the same time, I do feel a little bit I feel like Uber drivers, I feel like they get a pretty large cut taken out of their fare, and I do think it's a fairly stressful job. They always say like a taxi driver is one of the most dangerous jobs in America, other than the president statistically, and that it just kind of sucks, right? So if they can make a little more money and I don't have to really do that much, I get where you're going, but would prefer not to. Yeah.
Dude, speaking of hustlers, and I guess speaking of the music guy that was playing his own music, I
Hmm.
once got in an Uber. You might have been there with me, but the dude was he made his own cologne. Like he was trying to have like a cologne startup. And so he had all these in the center console, he had all these bottles of cologne that we could like sample. And I was like, yeah, I'll take a couple squirts. And again, if you have another business, like you can kind of work that into your Uber business as kind of a marketing ploy.
That
Respect to the
is
hustlers.
Maybe we need to start being Uber drivers, Steve. We just start playing the podcast in the back. You know how like they have the screen, and it's like,
Yeah,
please
oh yeah.
watch this YouTube short for us to shut up. Yeah.
Oh, that would be all. People are like, wow, this podcast is really good. Or they'll be like, hey,
Yeah.
can you turn this off? This fucking sucks. This is annoying. Can you just play some Britney Spears or something?
Yeah, like who is this person? Why am I watching you on a screen right now? Or it's like awkward. You're like, damn, that was a good joke, right? Like that was like funny, right? Like you like that one, right? How was the delivery on that? It's like so awkward.
Yeah, start asking for feedback. It's good.
Oh man. Okay, are you
All
up,
right.
Steve?
Yeah, I'm kind of getting on my draft order because my two after this should go together and there's like a punchline with them. So
You can do
anyway,
two. It's cool. I'm not gonna be
no,
offended.
I'm just gonna do this one right now because he's on his own. And this is the tour guide. Now, I don't really dislike this guy that much. Again, there's a time and a place. So the tour guide, you get in and maybe he knows you're a tourist or a foreigner or whatever, and he starts just kind of like giving you a tour, acting like he's you're on a tour bus. He starts pointing out different monuments, different things that you're driving by, maybe personal stories. He's like, "Oh yeah, that's where I got my first hand job," or he'll be like, "Oh yeah, that's the statue that honors this guy who, had this political uprising that led to blah blah blah." And they're just giving you a tour. And sometimes I like it. There's other times where maybe I've been in the place for like 2 months, but the Uber driver doesn't know that.
Yeah.
And like I'm just in my own neighborhood and I already am familiar with all these things he's pointing out. He's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, that's a really good burger place. I'm like, yeah, I've already eaten there 3 times. So I don't always want the tour if I'm already, or it's like I'm in like Kansas City or Denver and they don't even ask. They just assume for some reason that I'm a visitor. And they're like, "Oh yeah, that's Arrowhead Stadium." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I'm a Chiefs fan." Like,
That's Chiba Hut.
so it's yeah. So sometimes it's unwarranted tour guideism, but again, other times it is nice when they give me because sometimes I don't talk to that many locals, so talking to an Uber driver is maybe my only chance to get some local insights. So it's good and bad.
I agree. Uber drivers can be valuable for some local insight. It just you got to be, yeah, it's just sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Like
Yeah.
sometimes it's annoying. Yeah.
Yeah, I had one in South Africa that was just scaring me about how dangerous South Africa is. I was like, all right, I still have to be here for 2 more months, man. Just I know it's dangerous. I'll be fine. Thank you. Anyway,
Now, another hack I like is if you get an Uber driver that you like, you get their number
oh yeah,
and then you just
yes,
call them.
yes, I do
That's
that
what I'm
all
talking
the
about.
time. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good one. Kind of like the Airbnb thing again, a little bit, right?
Jeez.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Anyway,
It's the hands you shake, Steve?
Sam, it's just the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
You get a C in jogging class, and next thing you know, you're friends with an Uber driver getting cheap rides. All right,
um,
you go, Jack.
all right, so this one might on the surface sound a little weird, but I'm gonna try to explain myself. Okay? The woman Uber driver. Okay? And the reason why I bring this up is that I've had some friends who are women who have been Uber drivers who basically tell me it is very annoying to be a woman Uber driver because they constantly get like harassed, or like it's like the reverse happens. Like you think the Uber driver's talkative, all of a sudden the guy in your back seat, he hasn't talked this much in 3 months, and
Yeah,
he's just chatting you up, and you're the driver and you can't even do anything about it because like he's the customer, right? So like it's like the reverse. Like you can't tell them to be quiet because you're the one driving and you're like trying to get, want to get a good rating and everything, but you're like stuck listening to this guy like hit on you or like tell you about his family or something like that, and you hate it, right?
dude. Yeah,
And so like for me it's like come around where it's like, okay, now that I when I get into a car with a woman Uber driver, I just try to like not talk to her ever. Like I just try to never talk because I feel like, man, I'm just gonna give this person a break. Like I'm sure
yeah.
everyone who gets in here is just chatting you up, you
I
know?
know. She picks up like a drunk guy from the bar. Like he just struck out at the bar trying to pick up chicks. So now his
Yeah.
last resort is his fucking Uber driver home. But yeah, I mean, I feel bad for women in these type of positions. Like a waitress, a server, a bartender. It's just like she's just trying to do her job, dude. And of
Yeah.
course, part of their job is being friendly and cordial, and just being nice to the patrons, right? That's part
Right.
of the gig. And some guys, because men are fucking psychos, take that as, oh, like this chick wants me, this chick totally digs me. It's like, no, man, she's just being nice because that's her job.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Jesus, go on Tinder or something, relax. So like I feel it just so like the thing for me is like it just comes full circle, and like and maybe this is the wrong feeling to feel, but like I feel awkward as a man in that situation because like I don't want to
Yeah.
make her feel uncomfortable or like make her feel like she has to talk to me.
Yeah. No, I try to be as respectful as possible to make up for, the 100 other guys who maybe weren't. So
Yeah.
I'm totally with you. Because, yeah, I feel bad. It's like they can't escape. Like
Yeah.
again, they're doing their job, so they can't like just. I mean, I'm sure they could do something if it really came down to it, whatever. But or a bartender, server, same thing. It's like they can't like run away. They have to do their job. So it's like they're stuck with this creep ass guy until he leaves. I don't know. So yeah, that
And,
sucks for them.
and it's even more wild, right? Like it's even more uncomfortable because like you're behind them talking to them. Like they're sitting in
Yeah.
front of you. So it's like you
Right.
like it's just like even more weird. Like I don't
Yeah.
know, because it's like that like meme. They're like, you're walking down the street and you're like walking behind a woman, but like you just happen to be walking there. Like,
Yeah.
but now it's awkward. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I know. When that happens, I try to give them lots of distance. Like I don't want to like sneak up on them. Like I just,
Yeah.
even though I'm a good guy, but it's just
Stomp
like I
my
don't want
feet.
them to worry.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
So it creates issues, but it's okay. That's how it goes, I guess.
All right, my next one. Are we good on this one?
Yep.
All right, my next draft pick is one of my favorite Uber drivers. Actually, I'll do double on this one to bring
Okay.
them both home. So my favorite Uber driver is the Quiet Foreigner. Okay, so this is typically in the United States, typically in bigger cities. Maybe have more immigration or just like foreign people living there who don't speak English very well. And I love this guy. This is the guy who I wish the chatty retired guy was most of the time. The quiet foreigner like doesn't really speak English or doesn't speak it well, and so he doesn't want to talk to you. He doesn't try to talk to you, and I just love that guy. I'm like, hey man, you don't speak English. We don't need to chat. Let's just get me to my destination. I'm tired. I don't want to do that anyway. So I love the quiet foreigner.
That is chill. Okay, that's cool.
And then kind of the inverse of this is the foreigner who tries. And the foreigner who tries, like he doesn't speak English very well, but he still tries to talk to you. And then it's now you're in a conversation with someone you don't want to talk to, but you can't really understand them. So it just makes the conversation that much more difficult because there's like a language barrier. You're like trying to figure out what the hell they're saying.
Yeah.
And so now you got to like focus even more. You really got to take the headphones out to try to understand the foreigner who tries. Either way, good for them. They got a job. They're living the American dream. They're doing the Uber driver thing, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean it always is tough when you feel like there's genuine effort and like literally language is like stopping you guys from truly connecting. It's always
It
difficult.
is. Yeah, it's unfortunate in any scenario, right? We've talked
Yeah.
about before. Like, I wish I could speak every language, and when I travel, I wish I could have conversations with everyone, but it's just not the way it goes sometimes.
Yep. Yep. But it's getting better.
Yeah,
A lot of people are doing English, so that's good.
yeah. ChatGPT. All right, so what do you got, Jack?
All right, I think I got one last one I want to share, and I'm calling it the ride alonger. It's where you get an Uber and they've got like their significant other or like their friend
Mm.
or their partner like in the car as well. And so it's like you three hanging out, like he talks to you, but she's just like there, like knitting a scarf or like reading a book or something. And it's fine. I really don't know why I'm even bringing this one up. I just think it's like it's like a take your kid to work day type of situation. I think it's kind of interesting. Yeah.
It's funny because it's technically not allowed. Like, Uber drivers are not supposed to do that, but
Oh,
they often
really?
do it. Yeah, they're not supposed to. I drove for Uber for a little bit in Kansas City after I
Uh-huh.
got laid off one time, and so I
Yeah.
just did that. And yeah, that's part of the rules is you're not supposed to bring a passenger, but I know people do it sometimes. And yeah, it is weird. It's like, "Oh, how long have you guys been married?" The questions become a lot different.
Oh, are you guys on a first date? Wow, how's it going? What do you think about his driving?
That's a good one. The ride alonger. I like that. I didn't know where you were going with that at first, but yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I'll run through. I got some honorable mentions.
Okay.
What do they call it in the NFL draft? Like the last draft pick is
Mr. Irrelevant.
Mr. Irrelevant. Maybe we already did that, but whatever. Here's some
Yeah.
less relevant ones. So I have the chatty dad. We've already kind of talked about chatty guys, but this is like, so he's not retired, but he's just like a dad who's like this is again in the US, okay? And they're just like all about talking to people. I don't know, they're just like a dad. They don't give a fuck and they're always super chatty.
Yeah.
We have the bathroom or gas break guys. It's like, you could have done this off the clock. I feel like
I
they're like, they
know.
know oh, I could get paid to take a shit right now. Or they're going, I have to get gas. I'm so sorry. I'm like, you should have done that. You shouldn't have accepted my ride then, but
I
whatever. It's
know.
fine.
Oh.
It's fine. If people have to go to the bathroom, like whatever. This one I've encountered just recently, twice now. Once in Africa, I think it was South Africa, and then again in Mexico City. And this is the broken down car. This is rare, doesn't happen often, but I just want to bring it up because it's happened to me twice. Their car literally broke and stopped working during the trip, and like I had to just get out and book a new ride because the car broke down.
I had a similar thing happen. There was like a really bad flood in Miami Beach, and this lady was meeting me. We were getting pedicures, and the lady, she was getting driven in the car, tried to go through the intersection, and the car just started floating in the intersection. And so she just got out of the car and walked. And the Uber driver is just there chilling in the intersection floating. And it's like, I don't know what to do in that situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's tough, man. Okay, Miami vibes. That's
Literally
interesting.
without a paddle, you know?
Without, do you got any other honorable
I do.
mentions?
Yeah, I want to do an other vehicles section, Steve.
Okay.
Okay, so one of the most weird ones was in Bali where you would basically get a motorcycle would pick you up. And at
Mm,
first I was like super against this. I was like, dude, there's no way I'm getting on a motorcycle. Like I'm getting a car. I don't care how long I gotta wait, you know? But like the traffic is so bad there and there's so few
mm,
cars relative to these motorcycles that it adds, like, I'm not even kidding you, like it adds an hour onto your trip if you decide to take a
yeah.
car. So you gotta take this motorcycle, and they'll pull up and it's like this kid who's like 16 years old, and they're supposed to have a helmet for you as well. So like that's the angle. It's like they're wearing a helmet and then like you're supposed to wear the helmet, you know? Which obviously there's a few things wrong with this, right? First of all, it's like, all right, this is the third world, like this helmet's not washed, like I'm just putting on
Yeah.
this helmet. I really hope there's not like lice or anything on it, you know. And then the other part of it is like the guy will pull up, he doesn't have two helmets. What he does is take his helmet off and goes, here you go, you wear my helmet. you know? And I'm like, okay, like I'm just still like not happy about this. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
then, most of the time you're supposed to get a double helmet thing and that's cool. But it's just like it really was like nerve-wracking every time I had to go somewhere. I'm like, I'm holding on to this guy. I don't care how sus it is. Like there's no way if we're both falling together, like, you know what I mean? And so that was like probably my least favorite place to take an Uber ever was having to get on the motorcycles, and there's just no other option, and that really sucked. Yeah.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
done that once before. And yeah, I just hold on. I'm like holding on to this guy's like balls and shit. Like I don't even
Yeah.
care. I'm just like, hey, you are my only safety valve right now. So I'm just grabbing onto you, dude. I don't care. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another one I thought of is gypsy cabs. Now we're getting away from Uber, so we won't spend too much time on this. But
That's
like in
okay.
Africa and the Caribbean, they have what they call gypsy cabs. Basically, just people that own a car, but they don't have an Uber license, they don't have a taxi license, but they'll sit outside of like grocery stores or whatever, and they'll be like, "Hey, you want to ride?" They'll say taxi, taxi, and like it's just their van that's
Yeah.
not a taxi at all. Like they have no license. Again, desperate times. I've taken those before. It's worked out fine, but you're not really supposed to. It could be dangerous or whatever. And it is illegal for them to operate as a taxi, but gypsy. I just like saying gypsy cab. It's kind of fun to say. Um,
Yeah. I, I mean, I'm generally cool with that kind of stuff. I have always appreciated a hustler, and so it's like, okay, they're just trying to make some cash, and who knows these Uber drivers anyway on the app? What are they, like, I mean, are they really more qualified? Probably not,
yeah, probably not.
If anything,
Yeah.
the gypsy cab might be more qualified because he's making more money than these other guys,
True.
So,
He can reinvest that into his car and
yeah.
make it safer.
These other people are, Uber's taking $5 and they're getting $1. I mean, these guys are a
Yeah.
bunch of schmucks, like they shouldn't be. So,
Oh, that's good.
yeah.
All right, should we look at our Uber ratings and see who has a better rating between the
Yeah.
two of
Okay.
us?
Okay.
All right, I already got mine pulled up.
All right. I'm loading. Oh. Oof.
Okay. Is
Okay.
it okay?
All right. Do you want me to go first? Or are we saying them at the same time or what?
You go first.
All right. I'm a 4.91.
Damn.
That's pretty good,
That's pretty good,
honestly.
dude.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I am a 4.86.
Whoa, Steve. Don't give this guy a ride. PSA here.
I blame my friends whenever I think about this. I'm like, it's when I get like a ride, like an XL for all my friends, and we're on a bachelor party and everybody's being
Yeah.
rowdy. I I feel like it's their fault. I'm just putting the blame away from myself and just blaming other. I'm like, there's no way it could be me, right? Like I'm fine. But honestly, if I'm by myself, I don't know what I would ever do wrong to get that rating. It would have to be with like my friends being idiots. So that's my defense.
Okay, that's honestly, I've had a ton of those moments as well. I kind of also say that. I used to have a pretty bad rating because I had kind of an incident, but other than that, I feel like I'm pretty
Well, yeah.
consistent.
What was your incident?
Actually, I can't say it on the pod.
Okay.
I
Oh,
just
that one.
I can't say it
That
on the
one. Yeah,
pod.
you've told me about that incident.
I can't say it on the
But no.
pod.
Okay,
Yeah.
no, that one's hilarious. But didn't you say there was a puke incident or something?
Yeah, one time like there was someone who like was in my Uber and they like puked out of the window.
Hmm.
And the Uber driver wasn't too happy about it. He like stopped the car and went out to like check if there was any debris on like the side of the car, and luckily like there really wasn't, but he didn't give us a good rating after that. I'm trying to find if there's like stats. Can I see like stats, like how many rides have I taken like in
I
my life,
think
like, you know
I
what I
think
mean?
there are. I think there are some stats.
I would love to know because I feel like I take a ton. I should get Uber One though. It says I could have saved $37.58 in the last 30
Yeah,
days.
yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Ooh, okay. Privacy.uber.com. Explore your data section here. Okay, wow, these are some good stats. Okay, Steve, I'm ready for you.
Okay, mine like doesn't even feel real because it's such a whole number.
Dude, mine is a whole number two. Wait.
Oh, okay. It says we've taken 500 trips together.
Wait, that's how many I said for me.
That's bullshit.
Wait,
Thanks for
what?
being okay. How many days? I'm 3,340 days.
Mine's 3,834. Wait, is that like
Are
10
you
years?
probably?
I've ordered Uber Eats 73 times. Damn, I kind of regret that.
Oh, I got 75 of those, and I've chosen Comfort 7 of my last 10 rides.
Wow, I've done Uber X
So
10 of the last 10. But I wonder why it says 500. It must be broken or something.
it might, like, I know on LinkedIn, once you get 500 connections, it just says you have 500 plus, and maybe
Cool.
that's kind of what Uber does a little bit. But that was fun. All right.
Okay, cool.
Good shit. Well, now we know about each other's Uber history and how we feel about Uber drivers. Also, I love Uber. I'm glad it's a thing. I know I was picking on some guys, but at the end of the day, they get me to where I need to be, and that's all that matters.
Now, Steve, do you remember being in Kansas City? And do you remember any taking a taxi before Uber growing up?
Barely, dude. Like, barely. Like, I remember you'd have to, like, call a phone number and do all that.
I vividly remember the only one I remember is that 1010 taxi. It was like
Oh,
10
yeah.
bucks for 10-mile radius or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, 10 cents.
Yeah, I remember that in KC.
Yeah, dude. So I keep seeing this go viral on Twitter and stuff. They're like, how did people book flights before the internet? Like, that's a really good question. Like, did you just have to call a phone number and talk to someone and have them tell you all the flights and shit? And
That's
like,
true.
just that is ridiculous.
Yeah, that is actually a really good question. I don't even know. Like,
I literally don't know. I don't want to know.
maybe that was what the travel agent was for. You
Oh,
would
travel agent. Yeah.
they would have all that information, and they would be in charge of getting the updates and stuff, and they would keep those records, and you would go through them. Maybe.
But
I don't
over
know.
the phone, right? That's
Yeah.
crazy. Or go to their office, hash it out one on one.
How are you going to get to the
Crazy.
office without Uber?
Shit, how did people do anything?
Yeah, wait,
How'd you
what?
find the office without Google Maps?
Yeah,
What?
wait. How did you drive there without a Tesla driving you?
Yeah, without a Waymo automated driver.
How did you know to get on the highway because Waze told you that there was a wreck on the street?
I'm really glad that I was born when I was. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I'm built for that. I'm built for
I
comfort.
I wouldn't have made it. I wouldn't have made it back then. All right. Good episode, Jack. That was
great.
really fun.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Thanks to everyone. Thanks to everyone for listening or watching, however you found us. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube, rate us 5 stars on Spotify and Apple, and social media. Give us a follow on there as well, TikTok and Instagram.
Absolutely. And don't forget to take a weird trip.